will talk about analogies and how they can create or help create a healthier organization. But first, I want to tell you about my obsession. I love forests. I am amazed of how so many different organisms and plants and animals and insects, they all live together, not run by anyone, but through like a continuous interaction among them. This reminded me, this analogy, the first thing is connected to when I used to work in big organizations. One question that kept in my mind was, how can I go to work as a tree? Why can't I work as a tree? I mean, I could take the resources that I need. I could take the sun, the air, the water without any permission, and produce oxygen, provide shade, host hundreds of organisms based on need, not on numbers. And then I can grow vertically or horizontally without any annual reviews, without promotion or evaluation. So you can see I have a problem being told what to do, like the red box here. So that made me think one day, why don't I do a little brain exercise and imagine myself really as a tree? What can I learn from a tree? 3 things I got. Number 1, that the leaves of the tree, they are positioned in relation or relative to each other, maximizing the amount of sun that comes in, the exposure to the sun, so in order to get more energy. So that day I decided to open up to as many people as I can, colleagues, customers, and even strangers in the street, and see where do I get my best energy from. At the end of that day, I realized that I was a high extrovert. The next lesson I got was that trees stand tall albeit hardship. They get eaten, punched, broken, but they still get everything in it or hold everything in it and grow beautifully. So that taught me by itself, rather than stay away from the things that block me and scare me, why don't I just encourage it to come and still grow with it, learn the signals of when an axe is coming to chop me off and then go in another direction. The third lesson I got from the tree is that you stay rooted, but you can dance with every single breeze. So this not only changed the way that I make decisions, it also changed my view of life. So my principles became rooted, much stronger, and I announced them. So it was much easier for me to say no to certain tasks that don't fit what I need to do. But at the same time, I enjoyed every single breeze. I danced even more. So because once this breeze is over, you will get another one. So why keep crying on the same one? So if this little mental exercise helped me become healthier, I want to think with you, how can we make our organizations healthier using the same process of analogies? Let's look at our human body and the anatomy of our human body and take some of our lessons for our organizations. One problem we might face everywhere is that of communication or miscommunication. So in our body, we do have a formal system to communicate the messages. The nervous system takes the information from the brain to everywhere else. But there is another system that is highly sophisticated that takes even more specific messages to specific areas in your body, and that is your endocrine system. So it is made up of glands in different parts that produces the hormones released into the blood that goes into certain receptors. And how do they work? They work like radio waves. Unless you are tuned into this specific hormone, you will not get the information. So the 3 types of hormones that we have in our body, and this is the incredible piece of information, they come in very different structures. They look different, right? And this difference in the structure is what makes us react to it. It is in charge of, it's actually what makes us react to it. It is connected to how we think and we do. It tells us when are we afraid, when are we nervous, like right now, and when actually we need to urinate or even push babies out of the womb. It controls every part of us, and how we even look at the world is all controlled by our hormones. So how can we take this analogy and apply it to our organizations? What if, rather than having one department that sends us all the messages internally or externally, we have different glands and different receptors that send out messages to specific people who needs to know that message at that time? And think not only of the message, think of how the message looks like, the shape of it, because this is how people in the organization will react to it. So the messages could be built in different formats and on different wavelengths, and depending on who you want to know, this message could arrive there. As an example, what if we use a certain sound to indicate that there is food in the cafeteria and you can go and have a bite? Or maybe there is a sensor that changes the smell in the room to tell you that we have a guest coming in and you need to be on your best behavior. It could be a buzz like in the room or in your chair, actually, that tells you your manager needs to see you once you complete your task, without email, without someone telling you. Maybe a fog system that suddenly comes into the room that reminds you to look away from your screen and stretch your neck, do some body exercise to keep you healthy, so you can make a healthy organization. So the different ways of the message is how you want the people to react to it. Let's take another example. I'll talk about one organ and see how this one organ can teach us the different things that we can apply in our organization. The liver is an amazing organ that does wonders to our body. It is responsible for metabolism, for breaking nutrients, I'm not a doctor, but I just remember studying it. It is responsible for detoxifying and also producing bile. Okay, and how it does that? Through the infrastructure of the liver and the structure. So the infrastructure, all what you need to know, that there are three main vessels that go in or out of the liver. They're called hepatic triad. One brings in the oxygen, one brings in the nutrient-rich blood, and one takes away the bile after it is produced in the liver. And the structure of the liver, it is composed of liver cells that basically get into a group together, and they are surrounded by the hepatic triad, so the resources, in a six-sided ring. And every group is called hepatic lobule. Every group will be able to get the oxygen and nutrient-rich blood, breaks down the nutrient and create the metabolism, stores the nutrients that they need, detoxify if they have to, and produce the bile. Once everything is done, once they create that and they finish their job, the blood goes into the central vein to leave the liver. So how can this be translated into an organization? What if we create small groups, right? Rather than allocating your resources to go to different departments and asking them all to collaborate in one big giant email, you have small groups that are made of people from every single department that need to be working on that specific task or that project. Provide them with the supply vessels that they need, the oxygen and the nutrients, so they don't need to go and ask for anything. They have it, they finish their job, they produce the bile, they create the metabolism, and once they're done, take away whatever that's left over, take away, reallocate the resources, or even do their reports and paperwork so that they can continuously do what they do best, just like the hepatic lobule. So these are two general examples of how you can look at something that is completely unrelated to your focus. And I want to give you this as a small way to start. How can you bring this into your life and your work? How can you use analogies? Here is a simple version of it. Think of the problem that you have. Try to get the essence of it. Rather than saying, how can I solve my problem? Ask, what kind or what is the solution that I have will achieve? What will it achieve? If you can get that verb or that function, that is your starting point. Next, open khanacademy.com and watch videos on your body system, or open YouTube or the Discovery Channel and look at different nature. See how nature solved the problem that you want to solve, whether it is transferring something or storing something or expanding in different way. These are the same words that you use at work that nature uses. So try to learn what is happening in nature, take notes, draw the diagram, figure out the essence of it or extract the abstract of it, and then come up with ideas. How can you apply it in your own situation? How do ants transfer the food, or how do desert insects store the water inside? And then how do I transfer my knowledge, and how do I store the most important information? This is how you create this kind of analogy. Rinse and repeat. So nature has 3.8 billion years of experience. It cracked the code of solving challenging problems systematically, efficiently, and beautifully. So whether you start by looking at your problem first and then finding the answer somewhere where nature has it, or you start by being amazed by something in nature and then finding ways to bring it back to your life, try to train your mind to create this kind of analogies and see the invisible lines between those two. Then, and only then, will you be able to see what others don't see. Thank you very much.